Hey, once again, everyone, it's 21 News Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm here. Weather for Weather Geeks on the 8th day of October 2019. The 8th day of October is a particularly notable date for me. This is my WFMJ anniversary. I've now been here for 7 years, been doing Weather for Weather Geeks since early to mid 2013, so we'll be coming up on 7 years of this video coming up in 2020. So thanks as always for not only watching me on 21 News at 6 and 11, but following me on social media and watching these lengthy, detailed weather videos. We affectionately call them Weather for Weather Geeks, but you don't have to be a geek to get something out of these videos. At least that is my hope. All right, this morning we started with some fog. In fact, it was locally dense. We had some dense fog advisories out for early today, and this time lapse from our Niles camera will show the pea soup early in the day, gradually lifting by about 8:30, 9:30 into a stratocumulus deck, and then eventually just some cumulus clouds, and then eventually the sky pretty much just became totally clear by the end of the afternoon and heading into the evening today. It was a great afternoon, and temperatures were a little above average. And speaking of above average, now the final numbers are in for the month of September. And wow, what a month. It was the warmest September on record in the state of Ohio, joining Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, and Louisiana. Now, all these other states that have orange dots on them, it was a top 5 warmest September. And you add this up, and it's almost half the country that had a top 5 warmest September on record. In the state of Ohio, it was the warmest September in recorded history. Now, here in Youngstown, you probably are familiar with this by now, but I'll just remind you that it was a top 10 warmest September here, just barely cooler than last year. We've had very warm Septembers in recent years, including 2015, 2016, 2018, 2019. All the other years on this list, of course, are from the 30s, and this is just my periodic reminder that that does not disprove climate change or anything like that. Save your snarky comments. Chances are, if you're watching this video, you're savvy enough to know that that is certainly not anything that disproves climate change. North America was very warm in the 1930s, but the rest of the world was not really all that warm. And when we talk about global climate change, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about global changes in the climate. Not a lot of action across the country this evening. A few showers in the southwest, a few showers mid-Atlantic states. This cold front up here is a doozy. Now, this is what's coming our way as we go into the weekend, but before it gets here, it's going to create some wintry weather. Parts of the northern Rockies into the northern plains, and a real cold shot will extend down the front range of the Rockies. You know, Denver's a real interesting place weather-wise. This happens a lot in the fall and in the spring, where they will be in the 70s and even 80s, followed by freezing temperatures in the matter of hours. And this will be one of those situations where Arctic air will pour down the front range and send temperatures plummeting in places such as Denver, Colorado Springs, and up towards Casper, Cheyenne, Rapid City. And look at the snow that's coming over the next several days. There's probably going to be a couple of feet in parts of North Dakota, believe it or not. But, you know, for them, this is not all that unusual. In fact, they had a very similar situation in those places at this time last year. All right, not long after this video posts, pretty nice space station pass this evening, right around 8 p.m. First becoming visible on the horizon, on the north or the west-northwest horizon at 7:58. This is a high one. It's a bright one. Be beautiful. Nice clear sky this evening. 65 degrees above the horizon is the maximum elevation that you'll see the space station, and it'll disappear about 5 minutes later in the southeast sky. So check that out right around 8 o'clock. Tonight's also the peak of a meteor shower. Now, this is not one of our best meteor showers of the year, and we also have the moon up there tonight, which will kind of inhibit seeing a lot of meteors. This is a modest shower at best, but it's a nice autumn evening, and if you want to go outside and not only check out the space station, maybe hang out for a while, allow your eyes to adjust to the darkness, find a real dark spot away from artificial light, and you might see a couple of meteors per hour, maybe up to 4 to 8 if you're real lucky. This meteor shower, the Draconids, peaks this evening, but tomorrow evening you might be able to spot a couple with a nice clear sky once again tomorrow evening. So, a couple of cool things to look up and see in the sky potentially this evening. Space station will be a lot easier to see than the meteors, I can guarantee that. All right, our weather, bone dry and quiet over the next few days. We'll be in great shape all the way through the end of the work week. Homecoming at YSU on Saturday. It's a 6 o'clock kickoff against South Dakota State. Now, we do have that cold front heading our way on Saturday. There's still some model disagreement on the timing of the front. European model's quite a bit slower than the GFS. I kind of suspect the European's more right than the GFS is. If the GFS model were to be taken literally, showers be done early in the day. It looks like a dry and breezy afternoon. European model quite a bit slower, so therefore it allows for showers into a good chunk of the afternoon, perhaps into early evening as well. Right now, forecast is kind of middle of the road. Today's only Tuesday. We've got plenty of time to iron this out, but right now our forecast does include a chance for a couple of showers on Saturday, especially before sunset. And temperatures will start to fall, I think, pretty quickly behind that front Saturday evening. Looks like a dry day for the Youngstown Peace Race coming up on Sunday. And while we do have a cool shot in the forecast for the middle of next week, say Wednesday, Thursday of next week, beyond that, into a little bit farther into the medium range here, I do think it looks pretty mild. I talked about this on Weather Geeks last evening. I showed you some modeling for later on in the month. I do think that the second half of October, especially right around the 20th, 21st, 22nd, maybe 23rd, will be quite mild compared to the average. We may not be done with 70s just yet. That's how impressive looking that warm pattern looks about 2 weeks from right now. All right, that'll do it for me tonight. Look for more updates on the forecast and everything else you need to know about the weather here on Facebook, on Twitter, ericwfmj.com, and wfmj.com/weather.